CrossFit. Welcome to another Fitness Friday video. This week we are going to get started on a 3-week series talking all about ring muscle ups. I'm going to take a slightly different route on the order in which I'm going to do these. We're going to start this week talking all about turnover drills to help the turnover. Specifically, one of the bigger issues that I see in the turnover, one of the bigger hindrances in people getting that first muscle up, especially if you have the requisite strength to get all the way up there, you just have struggle turning over into the top of that dip. Week 2, we're going to talk all about the cycling of reps in that muscle up. So you've got 1, now how do we get 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. Week 3, we're going to talk all about the kip, really breaking down the very small, minute details in that kip to help give you some efficiency, again, stringing those reps together. So going on to today, we are going to talk turnover drills. I am going to start with the lower skill versions, work our way up. I'm going to give you 3 today, and then again talking about that big issue, that big fall. So first things first, I want to talk about the grip. There's 2 ways to do a ring muscle up and 2 different grips you can do it. One being the false grip, where you basically grab that part of the ring, that fat part of the ring, and you come down to where your wrist sits nice and on top. That meaty part of the wrist sits on top of that ring. It can be very uncomfortable, especially if you lack wrist mobility. That second grip is just the regular old, I'm going to grab the rings grip, just like you would have on the pull-up bar, for example. It is your more efficient grip when it comes to cycling reps, specifically the kipping reps. On any strict ring muscle up that you do, highly suggest a false grip, but that's about the only time that I would throw that at you. That being said, this first drill is going to utilize that false grip. So what I'm going to have you do, we're going to grab that false grip, sit on our toes right beneath the rings, and then I'm going to lean back. That lean back, pulling those rings back behind, simulates the start of any pull that you're going to have in the muscle up. Whenever you are doing a muscle up, you're never going to pull with the rings straight down. So without any tension, I'm never going to pull from this position. Anytime I pull, I'm going to be in the back portion of my kip. So I'm going to come forward, pull back, and now I'm pulling to turn over. So all of these drills today, except for one, are going to start in that slightly pulled back position. So back to that starting position, on our toes, false grip. We're going to lean back, let that chest come down, extend the elbow, and all you're going to do is, if you need to, use some toes, but you're going to pull yourself up to your chest, and then split the rings with your chest and into the bottom of that dip. This is just to build comfort getting through the rings and keeping them close. If I try and pull with the rings nice and wide, it's going to be much more challenging to get into that dip. I have to pull those rings tight. I'm stable here, very unstable here. So on these, leaning back, rings tight, palms facing each other. I come to my chest, I split with my chest, and I'm in the bottom of that dip. Again, using as minimal leg as possible, but if you need it, use it. These are great to build some of that requisite strength for those ring muscle ups. The second drill we're going to talk about is going to utilize a band. You're going to throw that band around the ring and through itself, creating a nice tight loop. And then with the opposite end, you are going to throw it over the top of the ring. It's just going to sit here on this side, so you're going to use your hand. I like to split right down the middle, make a little Spock hand, split right down the middle, really lash it in, keep it nice and tight. But we're going to start on the front here. I'm going to get myself into that band, make sure it's secure, and then I'm going to sit down into said band. Now this part is all about speed. What I want you to think about doing this drill specifically is the fastest sit-up you've ever done. In order to help process that and make it a little bit easier so you don't have to think about it as much, what I suggest is making a little target right out in front of you, roughly 2 to 3 feet, Today I'm using this nice blue plate. You can also, and this is gonna hurt my heart, but you can also draw a little chalk X on the mat. Just make sure you kind of wipe it out before you're done. That being said, this is the one that's gonna start hanging straight down. Just because our entire body is gonna be completely off of the ground, we're gonna have no control. So we're gonna sit back, same position to start as that last one, but we're gonna lean all the way back and hang by that band. Big key on this one, and I will preach this until the day I die, is always utilize the hollow body position when you can. This drill especially. So I'm gonna start, nice hollow body position, toes pointed. I can hollow rock from this position if I want, but in order to start this drill, you're gonna dip the hip just a little bit, pull, and throw yourself over the rings. This, again, all about that fastest sit-up that you've ever possibly done. One other thing to aid in that sit-up is I want you to think about bringing your heels back and under you as you turn over. So on that first one, I didn't do so, but if you're struggling and getting over there quickly, you can come back, hollow body, dip the hip a little bit, and bring those heels back. A little bit faster, a little bit easier, not quite as applicable to that full ring muscle up, but anytime you get into that cycle, and we'll again talk about that next week, is going to be, you want to be in that nice balled position so I can use my knees to kip out of that dip. So that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be, again, no band, but builds off of both of the drills we've done so far, and also builds into some of the techniques that we will talk about in week 3 on that kip. This one is going to utilize our hip and part of that kip, but again, just like the one we just did, hollow body position is crucial. So I'm going to start with my feet about 6 inches in front of that hanging position, taking one step, but then again, leaning back. Now this one is no false grip. I'm just grabbing these rings like I would a pull-up bar. I'm going to come hollow body, dip the hip, use my hip, and come over the top. This one is we're gonna talk about that big fault that I have seen so many countless times of people trying to get that first muscle up. They have all the strength. Anytime they kick up there, they swing, they kip, they pull, and then they get right here, and nothing else is happening. This is all about our grip, and it's all about death grip. If I am just gripping the heck out of these rings, I am never going to be able to come from this hanging position to the top unless I release my grip. As you can tell, I can pull those rings nice and tight, but if I hang and I take all my body weight, it's very uncomfortable on my wrist. I have that nice broken wrist position, which really isn't that nice. What we want to do is we want to facilitate that nice strong wrist where we're basically punching down on the ground. In order to do that, what I want you to think about is releasing pressure on the ring as you turn over. If you were to watch, say some of our upper level athletes do ring muscle ups, you will see that their grip releases a little bit. If you watch mine, I actually let my fingers go. So I will turn over by letting my fingers come off the rings and up and around. Gives myself a little relaxation on my grip as well, added bonus, but helps me to get over the top. So we're not letting go, but we are going to release, grip, and get over the top. That is the only way that you're going to be able to go from straight down to that opposite position of punching down on the ground into that dip. So again, on this drill, stepping out, my knees are kind of what's in that vertical plane, but then I'm going to dip my hip and turn over. Really drive that hip up, use it to create momentum, and then finish with the arms and that fastest sit-up you've ever done that we just talked about in the band. Now, if you have any questions on anything that I've covered here today or anything that I cover in these 3 weeks, I would highly suggest personal training, even if it's just 1 or 2 sessions for something as highly skilled as the muscle up. I love to break muscle up stuff down. I really like to use slow-mo camera videos to where I can draw on you as you do ring muscle ups, find your specific faults that are very key to you, very unique to you, and use those to change how we attack each of these drills. But if you have any questions, grab one of us coaches, ask them. We're more than happy to help. But with that, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great rest of your weekend.